Go ahead and get started. Here. My name is Rick Lashane. I work for PureAir Filtration. Today we're going to talk a little bit about emergency gas scrubbers. I guess first I'll talk a little bit about myself, and I have a little bit of experience in the water and wastewater world. I've been in the water and wastewater world for approximately, maybe 35 plus years. I am the municipal regional manager or territorial sales manager for PureAir. I handle the Southeast and the Northeast. That kind of tells you a little bit about my background. Go ahead and change the slide. So we already sort of did the introduction. Today we're going to talk about air quality problems in the water and wastewater industry, mainly corrosive and toxic gases, benefits of air purification systems. In this presentation, it's going to be emergency gas scrubbers, little risk management, little system reliability, industry standards, Safetysorb, the process of how our media works with toxic gases, some solutions, some PureAir Solutions, dry versus wet scrubbers, media life, media monitoring. Let's see, so as far as PureAir, manufacturing facility located outside of Atlanta, Georgia, approximately 45 employees. We sell to more than 60 countries around the world. Some of the notable customers that we have, Georgia Pacific. We've all heard of Georgia Pacific, a pulp and paper company. We actually sold them scrubbers that, H2S is very odorous, but it is also very corrosive. So as far as Georgia Pacific, we've sold them scrubbers to protect their electronic in their control rooms. We've got Christie's Auction House, which kind of doing the same thing. We're actually scrubbing the outside air to protect the merchandise there. We got New Belgium Brewery. I think they were making the news a little too much about their yeast smells, so they ended up buying an odor control unit. But again, and National Archives, pretty neat one. Same thing. We are scrubbing the outside air to protect the all the stuff in the National Archives, all the documents. A little more about PureAir Filtration, single source manufacturer, gas phase systems, chemical media, monitoring tools, monitor the media, or ISO 9000 certified, multiple markets, multiple applications, industrial, commercial, municipal, customizable solutions, engineered unique designs, again, very customizable. Customers' needs, multiple families of specialty absorbents, carbons, engineered medias. Talk a little bit about that today. Monitoring absorbent consumption, very important. You don't want any unwanted breakthrough, whether it be a toxic gas or an odor. And our ability to test our customers' media samples in our lab. Again, some of the, here we go. Some of PureAir industrial applications, odor control, environmental emissions, mainly in my world, it's municipal. So I'm selling odor control at a wastewater plant, at the headworks, at pump stations. Also, if they use, again, say they use chlorine or SO2, we're selling them emergency gas scrubbers like we're going to talk about today. We're also protecting electronics that's industrial places such as, this is a pulp and paper plant. Again, H2S is very odorous, but it's also very, very corrosive. Again, this is a Georgia Pacific. I mentioned this earlier, but we are protecting their electronics from the H2S, which will corrode the electronics and create problems. Indoor air quality. We'll use this airport as an example. We're scrubbing the air before it comes into the HVAC system and keep the customers from smelling jet fuel. We also do the same thing, say, at hospitals. where they have the helipad up there, and it's also the fuel exhaust from the helicopter when it flies in, but we'll scrub the air before it gets into the hospital. That's one of the many applications we have. And of course, emergency gas scrubbers we're going to talk about today. To scrub toxic gases. See, air quality problems in the water and wastewater industry. Why are toxic gas scrubbers needed? Very important. Protect neighboring communities and businesses from accidental releases. Protect on-site personnel from toxic gas spills and leaks. Protect systems from damage, unplanned downtime during chlorine events. When you have an unplanned chlorine event or chlorine leak, you're going to be shut down for a while. So that's really not a good thing for a wastewater treatment plant or a water plant, or even a big industrial plant like a pulp paper plant. So downtime is not a good thing, and emergency gas scrubber can help keep that from happening. Some of the common toxic gases in wastewater: sulfur dioxide, chlorine, and ammonia. Here's a couple of 1-ton canisters. These happen to be chlorine cylinders. I'm going to talk about here's risk management. We're going to kind of concentrate on this lower bullet point here. Having a toxic gas scrubber in place to lessen risks improves EPA risk management rating. Again, it is a good thing for, say, a wastewater treatment plant to have the protection, be able to protect the public and protect everybody against a chlorine or a toxic spill. So again, it's very good for their EPA risk management rating, which has many benefits for a municipality. Risk factors to consider: amount of gas stored on site. Again, that helps us size it, but it also, again, the customer, it's a factor, what do we need to get? How big is the unit going to be? That type of thing. Location of personnel and public. Again, we want to protect the surrounding public and the personnel at the plant. Very important. Geographic of the surrounding area. If you have a low-lying area, chlorine's a very heavy gas, so it'll tend to go there. It'll go to the lowest point. It's not so much the geography, but the prevailing winds. You want to know that. A lot of times these water and wastewater plants, you'll see the windsock, basically always telling them where that wind is blowing. And the facility layout, very important. Air purification systems. Here we're talking about EGSs. Again, design factors to consider. Critical area characteristics. Area and volume, again, allows you to size the unit. You need to know how large the rooms are, and what the cubic feet of the room is, so that again you know how to size the equipment. Structural conditions. Now you need the room to be airtight, but when you do have a toxic gas leak, you also need to have some good cross flow. That's where you want to make sure that during the design, or there's louvers on the opposite side of where the toxic gas intake is. So again, it just makes, once the blower turns on and the sensor detects a chlorine leak, we'll say, these louvers will open up. It'll again create airflow, and it will just make the blower of the emergency gas scrubber more efficient. So the cross flow is good when there is a leak. Openings, again, you need to consider how many openings are in the room. Do they need to be, always shut? How many windows? How many doors? Enter and exiting of operators, very important. The paths they take, and if there is a leak, what to consider, what to do with them, that type of thing. Alarms in the system to warn them. Location and facility. Proximity to contamination source. Again, how close is it? The ducting, what are you going to need? What needs to be considered? So again, some design factors that need to be considered. Industry standards. Here we're going to talk about some scrubbing technology. Okay, now PureAir We manufacture the dry scrubbers, basically the use of a dry solid absorbent to remove gases. Air passes through a bed of media that captures and neutralizes the gases upon contact. Then you also have wet scrubbers. This is something that we do not manufacture, wet scrubbers. Wet scrubber is the use of hazardous corrosive liquid, kind of bring that to y'all's attention, in a mist form to neutralize gases. Liquid is either sprayed into the vessel or it contains a contaminated air stream, or liquid is sprayed on a solid media that is in contact with the contaminated air. Again, I want to bring it up again that they are using as a solution as far as neutralizing the chlorine or the toxic gas, a hazardous corrosive material. It's actually, in common terms, it's lye. It's also known as sodium hydroxide. Dry scrubber components. Here we have a vessel. We have our absorbent media. This happens to be a horizontal flow unit. It's a vertical flow unit. And we have a blower. And very simple, easy to maintain. Wet scrubber components. Again, we do not manufacture these wet scrubber components. These are actually a competitor of ours. But as you can see, there's a lot more components. You have a vessel. You have pumps that are going to pump that caustic fluid. You have lines that are the caustic fluid is going to flow through those lines. You have nozzles that are going to spray that caustic fluid. Valves control the flow of the caustic fluid. You have your blower. You have media packing, which is usually contained up in here. And then you're going to have your caustic liquid holding tank down in here. Again, caustic liquid, if a unit is not maintained properly, you could have issues. I'll show you some of those issues in a minute. Dry or wet scrubber, still again, wet scrubber. Now, a wet scrubber does have a lower initial investment, okay, capital investment, but significant maintenance requirements. Again, just like we're talking about all the valves, all the pumps. If it's not maintained properly and it's called on to work, that's not a good thing when it comes to a toxic spill or a toxic leak. So simplicity is good when it comes to a toxic or an emergency gas scrubber. Again, significant maintenance requirements. Replacement of valves, pumps, fittings due to corrosion, just like we're talking about. Relies on, again, a hazardous chemical for the reaction to neutralize the, we'll say, chlorine. Dry scrubber, lowest ownership cost, low maintenance requirements, performs consistently at low or high concentrations. So we'll kind of talk about those high and low concentrations here in a little bit. This is for visual. This is what happens to parts when they are pumping or spraying the caustic fluid that we're talking about. And again, if the parts, the pumps, the spray nozzles, the valves, if it's not properly maintained, and this unit is called on to work when there is a chlorine leak or a toxic chemical leak, that is not a good thing, because these units are put in place to protect plant personnel and the surrounding population. So again, that's just a visual of what corrosion can do. Solutions. PureAir Solutions. Configuration and size selection. Again, you can see over here, here's what is, here's one of our, it's a 150-pound emergency gas scrubber, chlorine emergency gas scrubber. This happens to be a vertical flow. Here's another one over here. It's a 1-ton. It happens to be a 1-ton, so it can handle a 1-ton cylinder of whatever it may be, the chlorine or the SO2, and it is a horizontal flow. And again, you can see here some things you need to take in consideration when sizing these things is you're going to assume the full release of an overfilled gas vessel, whether it be a 150-pound bottle of chlorine, combination of 150-pound bottles. We've done 150-pound units, 300-pound units, 600-pound units, 1-ton units, 1-ton cylinder. We've also done 2-ton cylinder units. But again, flexible in our footprint, again, due to the fact that we manufacture a vertical and a horizontal unit. So whatever footprint fits best at the customer's site. How does the dry scrubber work? This is in very simple terms. Pass air through the absorbent media pellets. Media captures gases. Media converts gases to a harmless solid. Pure air exits the media. Again, very simple. But here's what we really want to talk about as far as in this slide is maintaining room vacuum. So that's very important. Again, previous slide, pretty simple, step by step what happens. But what we're really trying to do here, this is concerning a 1-ton cylinder, say of chlorine. When you have an initial leak, it's typically around 400 pounds per minute, okay, which release, what equates to 2,200 CFM, okay? So to maintain a room vacuum, we have to at least have 2,200 CFM. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and step that up to 3,000 CFM to make sure we do, again, maintain that room vacuum, which is very important. And as the release continues, it's going to drop down to about 80 pounds per minute. Again, we can handle that with the 3,000 CFM. So again, the main important thing is to maintain that room vacuum so that the chlorine goes to our ductwork, through our scrubber, and then out into atmosphere. This also comes into as far as consideration to maintain that room vacuum. When you start throwing in the size of the room, how many rooms there are. You've got a cylinder room, you've got the chemical feed room, those kind of things. And when you take those into consideration, the larger the area you need to pull the toxic gas from, the more CFM your unit needs to be. So anywhere from 3,000, one time usually real common is about 3,000 CFM, about 5,000 CFM. But again, some of the things you need to consider when sizing these things. And so again, just very important. Here's some installations. This just happens to be an FRP unit, inside installation, a vertical flow unit. It's an exterior installation. You can just see, again, here's your duct work. This would be the cylinder room. This is a 1-ton unit. The gas is pulled from the cylinder room up through the ductwork, down through our unit, and then up into atmosphere. This is what they're calling this a difficult installation. I call it more of a customized installation. But when we ship this unit, to get it into the customer's building, we had to ship it in 2 pieces. So then when we installed it and got it through the doors, we went ahead and put it together for the customer. Again, we're very customizable. So that's that installation's all about. And again, vertical or horizontal flows. Again, the footprint, what works best for that plant? Vertical flow unit, horizontal flow unit. Actually, this one happens to be a 2-ton unit right here. So it can handle 2 tons of chlorine gas. Media. We're going to talk about here is, and I'll just use the chlorine, or what we call our Safetysorb chlorine, but what we'll do is, and in this case, it's going to be an aluminum sphere, and it's treated with a chemical that when it comes into contact with the chlorine, it's going to neutralize it. It's a chemical reaction. That's why we call it chemisorption. Okay. So it's a chemical reaction with the chlorine that converts it to a harmless solid, actually a salt compound. And what's good about that is, as far as the disposal of the media, you can treat it like any other ordinary waste. It's non-toxic, no problem going to a landfill. So, but again, with toxic gas media, it is a chemisorption process. Some of our medias, Safetysorb, just talking about for chlorine removal. Have some CarbZorb for removal of SO2, and AmmoniaZorb to capture ammonia. So sell a lot of chlorine scrubbers, a lot of the removal for with using CarbZorb for the SO2. Here's, for example, we'll talk about the Safetysorb or our chlorine toxic gas media. High capacity, removing specific halides of chlorine. Okay, it's got about 15% by weight. Just like I was talking about earlier, it's non-toxic, landfill disposable. Again, just like I said earlier, the end product is a salt compound. Very, again, landfillable. Actually sell these things to a lot of smelting aluminum smelters. I guess aluminum oxide or the alumina. They actually put it in with their scrap metals and smelt it down. That's how they get rid of it. I always thought that was interesting. But it's very stable, definite shelf life. One thing you have to worry about is if it does come in contact with chlorine, it gets extremely wet, or if it gets crushed. Other than that, it's pretty much an indefinite shelf life. Just like and non-flammable, UL certified, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Very, very important when it comes to especially a chlorine leak. So, again, what we're going to talk about here, again, is that our media is non-flammable. UL certified media. Very, very important. Okay. The reason I'm going to talk about it is that a lot of our competitors still try and use carbon to absorb chlorine leak or the chlorine. When you have a chlorine leak and the exothermic reaction, it's creating heat, okay, which renders carbon-based media combustible. And that's the last thing you need at a wastewater plant or a water plant, is to have a chlorine leak and then the carbon media catches on fire. You don't need a big barbecue. You're going to make the newspaper. It's not a good thing. So again, very, 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 very important when you're specifying or looking into an emergency gas scrubber, especially a chlorine scrubber, that the manufacturer is not trying to use a carbon-based media. Again, just very, very important. You can look at any MSDS sheet, chlorine or carbon, and it states that they are not a good mix. Again, the whole thing is we're trying to prevent carbon bed fires. And it has happened. All right. To media monitoring now. Very important. It's always good to know how much media you have left, whether it be toxic gas or something for odor control. Some of the ways that we can test the media and monitor, but media life analysis. We have a lab here with our customers at no charge to the customer. All they have to do is get the samples to us, put it in UPS, send it over to us. But again, at no charge to the customer, no fee. We will analyze the media and tell the customer how much life is left, so they can predict, or they can know if they need to purchase some media now, purchase some media later. But again, gives them a timeline of when they need to budget to buy their media. So again, it's very important to monitor your media use. That's the last thing you want is breakthrough of odors and odor control. Again, municipalities hate to make the newspaper. Municipality on a Sunday afternoon, makes the paper because they had a because they had an odor release into the community. Let's see, media bed indicator. Now we have kind of two indicators. We have a basic one, or I guess a mechanical one. And actually, I don't have a picture of it, but here's my little prop. Basically what it is, it's a rod. It's going to be a lot longer than this, but it goes into the media, into the vessel at a 45-degree angle. As the media, whether it be chlorine or H2S, expires the media, this rod starts to corrode. It almost works like a dipstick, where the operator or whoever can go out there, pull this out and look at it. You can actually see where the media is expired, because now whether it be chlorine or hydrogen sulfide is attacking this rod. So again, it's just a visual way to give you an approximate media life. And it goes out with every unit that we sell. Next, we're going to talk about our electronic media bed monitor, or our EBM. Just happen to be a little picture of it there. We were the first to mark the electronic monitor in the industrial. It gives live readings of absorbent media consumption in real time. That, again, very important to know how much media you have left, whether it be, you had a leak with toxic gas, or again, with odor control. PLC, programmable logic control, takes measurements from a set of 6 externally mounted sensors, plus or minus 0.5% accuracy. The system analyzes these measurements to detect changes and calculate remaining life. Again, very important. Alerts customers when media is partially or completely consumed. Facilitates advanced scheduling for media changeout. Again, very important for them to be able to predict the changeout. Some people have been burned in the past and they changed it out too quick. Some people have waited too long and had, breakthrough of odors or breakthrough of toxic gas. That's not a good thing either. So you need to be able to plan for it, because a lot of times, especially with some of these larger vessels, there's a lot of labor involved in that kind of stuff. So again, very important to plan and budget for your media. Equipped with wireless or wired communications. Again, SCADA system. You can send a signal over your phone. And it also, communication, it also has a GPS to identify the location of the unit that needs to be changed out. So again, very convenient to be able to predict the media when it's going to expire. Some of the benefits to engineers, makes it part of the customer's design. Adding a monitor to the specification gives users the ability to monitor and plan for the media changeout. Again, very important, plan for the media changeout. Ensure, plan as a good neighbor. Again, they don't want to make the newspaper. They don't want complaints. Saves money and time, potential odor complaints. Again, the money and time, it's not inexpensive for the labor, the things, and what it takes to, change out the media. The retrofitting of the EBM can be retrofitted on existing deep bed systems. And in licensing, it can also be licensed to other vendors for installation. So again, a very, very important component of any odor control or emergency gas scrubber. That's about it. Let's see if we have any questions. Doesn't look like we have any questions. So everybody, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this and give me a call. You can get my contact information on our website, and we can go from there. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.